I'm going to return to Rana and Brij in just a moment, but now Vasily, can you tell us a little bit about the new Humanitarian School in Moscow?
The ideas we use in our school are very simple, and they can be used by everybody in this 21st century, because the technology is in this century, the technology is good enough to make this simple idea possible, be easy to use in any school, in any country. The idea is that if you want to develop something and if you want to improve something, I mean that we consider students as subjects of education and not objects of education. You must have the things you improve must be perceptible for you. You can improve your written speech, and usually when I was a student, there was no possibility to improve your oral speech. You can't improve your own action because you do not see it. It is not perceptible for you. And if we use videotaping and audio recording and give students videotapes with them acting, they can analyze their own actions and they can hear their own speech and they can improve it. And you see, it is easy to criticize other persons when they speak not so good, their speech is not so well. Well, excuse my English. When they speak not so well, and when they act not so well, and we do not see ourselves. When we have videotapes, then we can see ourselves as other persons. I can show video 3 minutes.
I'm going to interrupt for just a minute. So you use, for homework at the new Humanitarian School, you use essays, but then you also have the students do tape recordings at home, and then in the classroom you use videotapes, is that right?
Yes, usually we use audio tapes, and their oral homework is given as in digital form. And for example, all the students from the class bring their oral homework to school, and the teacher see in the directory and their computer all the 15, for example, students' answers, and he can start any of it. And the student hear himself, and it is a very interesting picture. And when the students analyze their videotapes where they act, it is interesting to look at them, because their faces are very speaking.
The first time I heard Vasily describe this, he noticed that I was smiling. And basically, I was smiling because I felt that would have been a great preparation for what I often have to do in the front of moderating panels such as this one. But back to you, Vasily. Tell us more about how you teach critical thinking.
Maybe the videotape then. I'll comment. Well, simple means that work. No sound, please. Analyzing here, children analyze their own work at their own lessons. You see the person who is, well, smiling because he's kind of ashamed. Now, one of the students is discussing, you see on the screen there are the same students. They are discussing how they acted during the lesson. Now we discuss during the self-governed day, we are discussing with those who were teachers and directors how they work. And now we are discussing the actions of teachers, how they lead lessons. And you see, well, everybody can improve his activity when he sees it from outside, from the another point of view. And seeing on the screen yourself is quite another thing than to see yourself from, well, your inner yourself, you see. And, just now, when we can, if we want to improve something, just make a stop, please. When you want to improve something, you must not only see you acting and speaking, but you must have the ideal example of how, the ideal model, how it must be in idealistic way, the ideal model. And if we talk about speech, there are no ideal model of speech. But when we want to improve our own actions and not to make them defective, because there are different actions. There are some actions which we call behavior. You have no goal, but you do it for some. What for are you doing, and why are you doing? These two activities are quite different. And if we use such a scheme, and start it, please, to show the ideal form of activity. As an activity, an ideal model of activity is a subject of activity, a situation, his values and norms, and if values and norms are opposite to the situation, then he has to put a goal. To achieve the goal, you must have means, instruments, and methods, and then you have the result. Stop it, please, for a moment. And this is the model. And when we discuss a lesson, or we discuss anybody's activity, we can look at this scheme. If you show it once more, not me, please. Then we'll see, have you got the goal, and were the means and instruments adequate to reaching this goal, and what are your values, why did you start this activity, and were you the subject, or were not only the instrument of this activity. And when discussing with people, with teachers, lessons and their activity, we can they start to improve their activity because they see the ideal model. Then we have the model of thinking. And we have the ideal model of thinking, and if we use this model, we can use not only, well, usually a lot of children use defective thinking. Start, please, if you don't mind. Verbal thinking, and there are three methods of thinking, and we can divide it in three variants of thinking. Verbal thinking, stop it, for example, for a moment, and then imaginative thinking and abstract thinking. For example, here we hear A plus B is C, but it is a very, very abstract formula, and it seems that it is appropriate to anything. But if I say to any person, and I can ask anybody here, just to show it how it is in real world, give for example, a glass, a mouse, and something else, for example, a badge, and show me how this formula works. They usually do it like this: a glass is A, the mouse is B, and this badge is C. And I say, so are you sure that a glass and a mouse makes a badge? They say no. And maybe, and they doing vice versa, and so on. But you see, the thing is that it is impossible, I'll show this scheme, to make this formula put it in the real world without having it in abstract way. Start the video, please. When you understand the formula, it means that C is the whole and A and B are just parts of it. And so you must do it like this. A mouse and glass is A. Stop for a moment. And it is badges B, and the whole is C. And now, when you say simple formula, 10 divided by 2 is 5, if children know how to think, they know that we must think in three variants and three spaces. First of all, and there are variants of this very simple formula. When we divide by 2, maybe it is 10 kilograms, it must divide it by two persons must get 5 kilograms each, and the answer is 5. And the scheme is like this: 10 divided 5. But there is quite another situation when we have the same 10, but we have 5 persons, and we must divide by 2. If we divide by 2, we'll find 5. Well, something is wrong with this scheme. It must go on. It must go on.
Yeah, Vasily, I think you've gotten some of the basic elements across.